Well, hello, and welcome to my channel, Matthew Spriggs Home and Garden. Today we're going to a fantastic plant fair, and we're going to take you along with us. So today we're visiting the beautiful Parham House in West Sussex, one of England's finest Elizabethan houses, surrounded by stunning gardens, parkland, and set beneath the South Downs. As I mentioned, we're here for one of their popular plant fairs where specialist nurseries gather with an incredible selection of plants for every type of garden. We'll be seeing what catches our eye, picking up a few new additions for my own garden and taking a relaxing tour around Parham's breathtaking walled garden and pleasure grounds. So let's get started. Some time.
Okay.
So I've got this it's a town garden with high walls.
So you've got that shade
And then I've got
inbuilt,
and then I've got 4 cherry trees, big tall cherry trees, which provide a lot of shade. But all of it gets sun for some stage of the time.
So things like that would be absolutely fine.
Now, I have to confess, I just met Rosie Hardy from Rosie Harding Gardening on YouTube, and she has the most fantastic nursery, and here I am back at her stand again. Her plant knowledge is unparalleled, absolutely amazing, and I've been wanting to visit her nursery, which is over in Hampshire. So it was wonderful to have an opportunity to be able to buy so many goodies from her and to meet her in person. Then next we moved on to this fabulous specialist fern grower based from Somerset, and there was an incredible range of plants here. That's really nice. This one is a native fern, and that one definitely came home with me. This is Nicotiana sylvestris, grows up really tall, and it has these beautiful little white tubular flowers that hang down and has the most beautiful perfume at night time. Definitely going to get some of these. Big one. Now this nursery here had the most incredible selection of plants. I mean, there was things here that I had never seen before. I mean, look at this with all these spines on top of its leaves. It's just crazy. And then of course you can buy various tools. Here I thought these rather fancy looking copper trowels were amazing. Now I did buy something from these people last year, but nothing this time. But they had a great selection. I mean, literally everywhere you look, there are just beautiful plants. Of course, I already have this one in my own garden, the Euphorbia mellifera, so I didn't need one of those. As you can see, it was really popular here today. Now, for chili lovers out there, there were some really interesting and unusual varieties here. Cannas. Just look at the colour and the markings on these flowers. Really exotic. Now this is one of these very specialist begonias, and this was on the same company that I was buying the fern that I brought the fern from, and they're really interesting. Yes, new footwear, anybody? Rather fabulous, I think. And there was all sorts of little colourful pots which would have been absolutely ideal to fill in any gaps in your own garden. I mean, there were just so many plants there, many things that I'd never ever seen before. It was really quite an education visiting the plant fair. Now, these aeoniums are a favourite of mine. I've got a few of these at home, and I particularly like these dark-leaved forms. Contrasts really well with that silvery grey melianthus behind it. Now, have you ever seen a fuchsia like this? This is like little scrambling, trailing fuchsia with these tiny little crazy flowers. And we've got some various pretty mandevilleas. Oh, now this is a very unusual persicaria with these long sort of pink caterpillar-like flowers. Quite extraordinary. And one thing that I learnt whilst I was here is so many different types of persicarias. I've only got the one form in my garden at the moment. Look at this one called brushstrokes. You can see why. Now, of course, plant shopping is very hungry work, and inevitably we had to have a traditional cream tea to fuel ourselves to enter through the magnificent iron gates into the walled garden. Now, all of the borders here are colour themed, so that as you come in, this first border is in yellows and oranges and blues. So quite contrasting colours. We've got some lovely niphofias there and achilles here with their flat heads. Stunning cotinus on the left hand side. I do like those, the smoke bush. But just lovely big bold groups and drifts of plants. So many different and unusual things. I've no idea what this is. Oh, I know this one. This is a Crocosmia lucifer with its very striking red flowers. So off of that first border we went into what I think is possibly one of my favourite areas at Parham, and this is the herb garden, and it has a very restful planting combination and colour scheme, and I was really taken by this area, and we spent quite a lot of time here for one of the smaller areas of the garden. But I was really captivated by what I can only describe as a very ethereal planting. And at the centre of it is this beautiful pond with the water lilies in and this beautiful cherub. So back out into another border, this one with a much lighter colour scheme now, with sort of whites and purples and blues. This stunning rose. Really adapted a lot of the planting for hot, dry conditions. We've got these fabulous spiky Euryngum thistles and salvias and pink echinaceas. And this echinacea is beautiful as well, and more thistles behind. And then all the way down the length of these borders, there were these like beautiful clouds of these white umbels of this ammi, which were really stunning. And this wisping grass, which just gently moved in the breeze. You can see various plants have been repeated down the border, just sort of giving this rhythm and continuity as you walk along its full length. And all of the borders everywhere were absolutely teeming with insects. You can see there's a very busy wasp there. Now, one thing I love about visiting historical gardens is a lot of the architecture. And you've got this stunning wall here and this beautiful door. And I just sort of popped out, couldn't resist just going and having a look to see what was out in the landscape beyond. And then again, as we come down this border, we've got yet another colour scheme. Stunning big clumps of Hydrangea arborescens Annabelle, and then large groupings of these daisies, beautiful grasses, and all sorts of other white herbaceous plants mainly. There were a few blue delphiniums, but they'd more or less gone over. And there were these stunning single white roses. I think this one is called Kew Gardens. It looks very similar to one that I've seen before, but it was a prolific flowerer. And then from there, we went and investigated the loggia. I think this might have been a later addition from the main house, and that provided a very cool place to sit because it was a very hot day. Now you might notice that we don't have Poppy with us, and that's because it was a hot day, just far too hot to bring her out, so we left her at home with a nice cool fan. Now I think this one was probably my most favourite border, with all of these hot colours. I mean, just look at that daylily, that Hemerocallis. It was a fabulous. And those colours were set off with reds and purples and lilacs and these big tall sunflowers. They almost gave the border almost like a kind of subtropical look to it. Some little lime green tobacco plants, a different type. I think that's Landorfi. Of course, again, more insect life. These butterflies were just everywhere dancing around us. And then even these seed heads have got an attractive colour to them. You can see how well Parham sits in the landscape here at the foot of the downs. Though we had a little wander around the vegetable garden. You can see all the frothy foliage of the asparagus there, and they must be very on it with their care for their box plants, because I didn't see any damage from either blight or the dreaded box moth caterpillar. Now I thought this tub was rather fascinating. It had got chili plants and tagetes and little dahlia and even some climbing runner beans there. And a very, very busy honeybee here on this artichoke flower. Stunning colour of this purple clematis. And of course walls adorned with roses and yet more clematis. Now again we pop out to view the dove house and the pond here, and lovely views across the landscape of the park, and then back in to walk down this last part of the garden into the border here with really pretty colours. I was very taken by this rose. Unfortunately it didn't have a label on it, so I can't identify it, so if anybody does know, please let me know in the comments, or can suggest a similar one. Really pretty how it goes from that apricot to that pale pink. Now this is a treat in here. This is a long conservatory here, full of all sorts of exotic and tender curiosities, I would say. We've got streptocarpus here, and many things that I just didn't know the name of. It was a really interesting place to wander down. Lots of lovely ferns under the bench. We've got the blue star fern as well as maidenhairs. Really interesting variegation on some of the pelargoniums that they have there. And there's one here in the corner with almost black flowers, quite stunning. And then to contrast above us we have a lovely creamy coloured begonia with its blousy blooms. And then out of the conservatory you sort of pop out into this froth of catmint, veronicastum and roses. And then just to my right, just here, is this stunning clematis. Now this was called tie-dye, and that's definitely one I'm going to be searching out for myself. Well, what a fun day that was at Parham House. We browsed around the amazing selection of plants, and it gave us the opportunity to talk to the nurserymen and growers themselves. Their knowledge is second to none, and I've learnt so much on our visit today. We had a chance to wander through the beautifully restored walled garden, and it's easy to see why such a place is so special for gardeners and history lovers alike. Now, I very nearly brought a trolley with me, and I thought, no, it's going to be really annoying and in the way. But actually, these bags are really heavy, and I wish that I had. Now, where did I leave the car? Oh, yes, it's over there somewhere. Not too far. Wow, now that was a successful haul. Just got to get home now and decide where to put them all. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it the thumbs up and subscribe for more gardening adventures. And I'd love to read what comments you've put, particularly to find out what your favourite plant might have been. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.